Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell, give 'em a hand, and let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the Mets of New York town, of New York town.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to Talkin Mets at Raw with the first Mets watch party live of the 2024 season. The first night game for spring training, the first night game of the year for spring training and the season so far. So we are going to get started and do a little bit of a pregame show here today before the game at 6:10 as the Mets take on the Nationals. We got Jose Quintana on the mound and Jake Irvin for the Washington Nationals. So hopefully everybody is doing well on this Thursday, March 7th. Just not little less than, let's see. It's about 2.5 weeks away until opening day. Oh, no, it's about weeks away until opening day. And I can't wait. You can't wait. And it's going to be a lot of fun throughout the season. Hopefully it's going to be a very happy season for us, or at least an intriguing season for the New York Mets. But we are in game 11 of the spring training quote unquote season. And there's still a lot of competitions for the New York Mets at third base, at DH, and the bullpen. And it's going to be very interesting to see over the next couple of weeks who is really going to take the bull by the horns and take a job. Vientos and Beatty, we know, are fighting it out for third base. Nobody has really taken it and kind of had the lead at third base in this competition for third base in between Beatty and Vientos. The DH, could it be a little bit of a mixture of Trace Thompson, DJ Stewart, Luke Voigt, Choi? There's so many different guys. Is the dark horse, and JD Martinez might pop out of nowhere and the Mets might sign him late into spring training. I still think that's a real possibility. I've said this for about a month now that I feel like JD Martinez is going to fall into the Mets lap. And the way the DH situation, at least at the moment, has been looking, where I don't think anybody has really been, I guess, impressed bat-wise for a DH spot. I would not be shocked if late into the spring, the Mets signed JD Martinez. I know that's crazy. But I said it for a while that JD Martinez is going to fall into the Mets lap somehow, some way, because if he was getting what he was looking for over the last couple of months of the offseason, he would have been on a team already. The fact that he's not on the team, and it feels like it's just a match made in heaven in this situation. I know people think I'm crazy. The Mets are done. The Mets are done. Yeah, I'm not telling you to go out and get Jordan Montgomery, even though that might be something that might come into the works. You just never know either. But I always felt that the JD Martinez situation was always going to develop, especially when he didn't sign once spring training started. And I just felt like the Mets are bringing in, Mo, Larry, and Curly, the Choys, the Voits, the Thompsons, those guys are journeymen. Those guys are, players that were good at one point, but not really good anymore. And they're trying to catch lightning in the bottle. They didn't bring all those guys in because they had faith in a Vientos Stewart DH role platoon. You wouldn't do that. You would give a lot more at bats to Vientos at the DH spot and DJ Stewart. The fact of the matter is that they brought those guys in tells me that they're not very confident at the DH spot. And whatever the nonsense they wanted to spill you, and everybody believed that they wanted to give Vientos the shot at the DH spot, they kind of went back on their word when they said that the third base situation is a competition between Vientos and Brett Beatty. So if it's between Brett Beatty and Vientos at third base, whoever wins that job is obviously going to get the third base situation. Is the person that loses that third base job is going to be the automatic DH? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's the way they're going to go about it. I think whoever wins the third base job is going to obviously start on opening day, and the person who loses that job is going to end up in the minor leagues. And that's why I think about, I would say, the middle of March, about a week and a half before spring training, I'm telling you right now, if nobody opens up enough eyes and impresses the Mets, I have a pretty good feeling that JD Martinez is going to get signed by the New York Mets. I think, I know it still sounds crazy, but it's just the way I feel. I feel like it's working out that way. Because again, you keep on looking at teams that are looking that you would think, who needs a bat? I was looking at teams like nobody's like, the Yankees are looking, who knows if the Yankees are going to get another pitcher. There's a couple of teams out there that somebody's going to sign Snell or Montgomery, right? So it's really the pitching side where I see there's a lot more teams that could be in the mix in those two pitchers, in the Cy Young and Jordan Montgomery. And with Blake Snell, JD Martinez, I don't know where he's going to go. And the fact that he's not on a team yet tells me that teams are looking at him and saying, why are we giving you anything close to $10 million or more than $10 million when you are not a player that's a utility guy? If you don't hit, you are basically taking a spot up on the roster. That is why teams are hesitant to sign JD Martinez, even after he had a great year last year. Anybody can use 36 home runs and 96 RBIs. But the fact is that because he's up there in age and the only thing he can do is be the DH, it's a risk for a team that brings him in, at least at the price that he might want. It's too much of a risk for that team, no matter if you believe he would help the team or not. The fact of the matter is, if JD Martinez forgets how to hit a baseball, now the team is stuck paying that salary, and on top of that, is filling a roster spot with a guy that can't help your lineup. And now what do? You're not going to release him, especially early on in the season. So what are you going to do? You're going to keep on tracking him out there, and it's not going to help the team. And the fact that this spring training, which, okay, it's about 2 weeks in, I'm not going to go crazy and saying, oh, Vientos doesn't look good, Beatty doesn't look good. But I don't think the Mets are looking at Vientos as the everyday DH. I don't think that's the case anymore. I know that was a lot of talk during the offseason prior to spring training starting, but it's not exactly what they talked about in the offseason and what they're showing right now in spring, because it's the Vientos Beatty show at third base right now to win that job. So that's what I'm trying to think here, because I think that's the big reason why they didn't sign Justin Turner, as Carlos says. They didn't sign Justin Turner because I think in the back of their mind, they always knew Vientos and Beatty was going to be a competition at third base for spring training without them actually saying it during the offseason. So Justin Turner really didn't make sense if you were really going to give one of those guys the third base job who wins it, and you got Alonso at first base. So Justin Turner would be the DH. And yes, he is a utility guy that can play multiple positions, but I don't think they wanted to take that because if Justin Turner plays well and whoever's at third base not playing well, now you got to play games with that. And I don't think they wanted to do that. And that's, again, another reason why I think JD Martinez is going to fall into the Mets' lap. And why, as you look at these lineups, and we'll check the lineups up in a little bit. Once 6 o'clock comes, I'm going to turn it over to Game Day. And again, if it's your first time here, while I do a live stream during the Mets game, I put Game Day up so you can follow the game. You see the pitches, you see the lineup, you see everything that's going on in the game on Game Day, as most of you guys have it on your phone, so you understand what's going on. And I also put the broadcast as well from the television, which is from SNY Today, and whatever network has the game, I'll play the audio with that as well. And of course, the instant reactions during the game, myself and your reactions in the chat. So make sure you tune in, hang out. Make sure you hit on that like button, guys. This is a Mets Watch Party live, kind of pseudo pregame before the first night game of spring training. And again, you're getting closer and closer to opening day when they start playing night games in spring training to get the guys acclimated to night games before they head, in the Mets case, up north to play for opening day at Citi Field against the Brewers. So there's a lot to go here. Again, I don't think anybody has a roster spot set in stone that we've been talking about. A couple of bullpen guys, we know a lot of these bullpen guys could be in flux. Austin Adams, guys like that are probably on the fringe, but you just never know. A guy that might have had the first early 2 weeks really good might be struggling. Sean Reed Foley is a guy that we've seen a couple of times over the last couple of years, is a guy that has been really damn good so far. So we'll just have to wait and see at this point. But I do expect a lot more conversation over the next week or so about JD Martinez. And I know it's silly, and I know people, I get it in and Chris was the one, CP Mets and Knicks. You all know Chris. If you don't, you should subscribe to his channel. He tweeted something out the other day, I think was it yesterday or the day before, about JD Martinez. And I retweeted and I said, I've said this for a while. Many, many times. I basically beat it like a drum. I continue to say that the JD Martinez is going to fall into the Mets' lap. And this was prior to the spring training, where I just felt like what Martinez was asking for, which was somewhere between the $15 to $20 million range, even for 1 year, he wasn't getting that, because if somebody would have offered that to him, he would have been on that team already. So my opinion is that the Mets might get the deal of a lifetime. Now, again, JD Martinez can be an absolute bust for the New York Mets wearing the orange and blue. But if you can get him for sub $10 million, or at least close to the $10 million with some incentives, that's a damn steal. Regardless if he performs well or not, you're not really losing out on anything there. And the reason that I keep on bringing up JD Martinez is not because I'm obsessed with JD Martinez, which I would rather have Justin Turner. JD Martinez makes so much sense now because of what the Mets have shown at spring training, which is they kind of like, I guess, shown their cards a little bit with the whole third base competition with Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos, because it is a competition now, right? These guys are constantly playing third base. When Beatty's not playing third base, Vientos is. When Vientos is not playing, Beatty is. And, obviously Vientos is getting that third base situation every now and then. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But the way it's slowly working out, and I don't think anybody has been, the leader, I would say, in the DH department, right? DJ Stewart is not going to be the everyday DH. We all know that. He's going to be one of the last, or most likely one of the last outfielders on the bench. Chase Thompson, I guess the Mets like his power. He's performed pretty decently in spring. Choi looked pretty decent. Voit is, on and off is what Luke Voit is. I don't think the Mets have confidence in those guys and then tell me opening day that it's either going to be one of those three guys I mentioned and DJ Stewart as the platoon DH. I don't think they're going to do that because you can't tell me that you want to get at bats for Mark Vientos and the younger guys, yet you're bringing in a couple of veterans to try out for the DH spot and the last spot on the bench as a utility guy. So it's very interesting to me because, as much as I would, love to give myself credit about the JD Martinez situation, the Mets are actually making a case for me by what product they're putting on the field. And again, why sign Choi and Voit to minor league deals? You're not looking at them to play the field. You're looking at them to be a DH possibility. So that tells you either they're not confident in what they have bat-wise at the DH situation, or they really want to see who wins that third base job. Because what if Vientos does win that third base job? Brett Beatty's not sitting on the bench. Brett Beatty is not going to be the DH. Brett Beatty's going to get sent back down to the minors. And now you really have a big hole at DH. And what are they going to tell you? Oh, Luke Voit and DJ Stewart is your platoon DH. It's not that doesn't bode confidence. So that's something that we have to wait and see. And again, we're going to go through the lineup right now. Let me just give you a little bit of a preview right now. It's 6:00 now, so let's go right to the game day here so we can look at the lineups, and I'll show you my little setup for the live stream. It's a little much newer and different than it was last year. So you'll get to see that. So it's going to look like that. Again, it's a little a work in progress. I'm going to try to extend the game day a little bit bigger. Again, game day, for whatever reason, they started to do that late last year where they kind of made the game day smaller on the overall share screen, and it kind of is annoying. But I'm going to try to do the best I can to, blow it up a little bit and give you a little bit of a better view. But again, you will have the play-by-play audio. You will have the lineups there. You will have the pitching matchups there and the records of the teams, the Mets and whoever they're playing. Obviously, right now, the Mets are 5-5 in spring and the Nationals are 6-4. And this is going to be most likely the setup of what it's going to look like during live streams during Met games. So that's where you're going to see. Obviously, once again, the lineups you're going to have and everything else that you need to know when you start the game. Obviously, lineup changes during the game, pitching changes. That's going to come up on game day. And, of course, I'll update you guys on that stuff as well. But to start the game and during the whole process, you'll see what started the game, the pitching and the lineup. So hopefully you enjoyed the new setup, the new background, the new way of doing the live stream as well. And of course, whenever I have a guest on during the live streams during the game, we'll have a little bit of a different setup. But you will always have game day, myself, the guests, instant reactions, and the lineups and the pitching matchups as well. So let's look at the lineups right now. As you can see on the bottom left, in the middle, the New York Mets lineup is something that you might see on opening day, probably minus Joey Wendell if McNeil is ready to go for opening day, which everybody assumes he will be. So leading off, Brandon Nimmo is playing center field. Batting second, Francisco Lindor playing shortstop, which I kind of like because last year he batted second a lot and he really performed very well at the 2-hole. Batting third, Starlin Marte playing right field. Pete Alonso cleaning up, playing first base. Brett Beatty batting behind Pete Alonso as a protection. Batting fifth at third base. Francisco Alvarez catching, batting sixth. Mark Vientos DH and batting seventh. Joey Wendell playing second base, batting eighth. And to end the lineup is Harrison Bader playing center field. Excuse me. Left field, Brandon Nimmo. Bader, center field. Excuse me. That's my fault. Batting ninth and in center field. So Nimmo's in left. Bader's in center field. And the Nationals got Thomas, Wood, Meneses, Gallo, Vargas, Keyboom, Milas, Young, and Baker. So once again, this will be the setup during live streams during the season. The live streams during games is going to be a little bit interesting this year based on scheduling, only because of the fact that, as you guys might know, me and Chris are going to be doing a Mets pregame show, uh, trying to do almost every game. 162 probably won't happen, but we'll do as many as we possibly can based on scheduling. But even if both of us are not there, one of us are there, or one of us have a guest or something like that. But we're gonna do the best I can, and it's called the Amazing Mets Pregame Show Live. Is going to be coming on opening day, March 28th. So make sure you tune into that before the game. I will be at Citi Field on opening day, so I'll be doing the pregame with Chris on opening day at Citi Field, probably tailgated in the parking lot, in the Marina lot where the 7 line is, on opening day. So you'll get that. We'll probably talk about this with me and Chris, but we'll probably do an earlier pregame show, not too close to the game time, because, obviously you want to get in early. It's opening day and all that fun stuff. But we'll definitely bring that to you. We're gonna do a monthly schedule with the pregame show and the Mets Roundtable podcast. That we'll have a little bit of news in about a week or so once we have conversations with the group, with the Roundtable crew, and we'll let you guys know the scheduling in advance. Last year it was on Monday doing the Mets Roundtable to round up the week. The reason why Monday was good because the Mets had a lot of off days on Monday. This year, they got a lot of off days on Thursday. So it might be possible that you might get the Mets Roundtable podcast on Thursday instead of Monday because of the Mets off days. You're not going to have a Mets Roundtable during a Mets game. It's kind of weird. It's kind of, we're trying to, talk about the prior series and the series to come. And while there's a game direction. So we'll get that ready to go. So the game's going to start in about a couple of minutes. And once the game starts, and if you're new to the channel, and sorry about that, the stupid Siri nonsense. So that's what we're going to do right now. I think you guys can hear me, right? Can you guys let me know if we get a thumbs up there that you guys can hear me? Carlos, I appreciate that, buddy. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the comments. I was trying to get everything set up on the screen right now for you guys. So just so you guys know, the pitchers for tonight is Quintana, Ottavino, Lopez, Diekman, Fujinami, Walker, and Hartwig. That's all the pitchers that are going to be going tonight against the Nationals. First up will be Jose Quintana, who's had a rough go of it this spring with a 10.80 ERA. But again, I don't really worry about veterans. They usually like to work on stuff. When it gets closer to opening day, that's when you're going to start worrying if he's still struggling with his pitches. But, we don't really know who's going to be the open day starter since Seng is going to be out. Once we get closer to opening day, like probably about a week and a half away, you'll have an idea because they're going to set that guy up every 5th day, and you'll have an idea of when those guys are going to pitch. And I have a feeling that it might be Jose Quintana, but why not? If Tyler McGill makes the rotation, which is looking like he is right now, he's been outstanding with 13 strikeouts. He's just been really, really good. I think he has a 1.8 ERA, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be very interesting to see if the Mets give Tyler McGill that opening day again. And listen, to have Tyler McGill be the opening day starter for 3 years in a row, one in Miami and one at home as well, it would be great to see. It would be very interesting to see. And you know what? If Tyler McGill deserves it, put him out there. Why not? He's going to have 40+ thousand at Citi Field cheering him on against the Brewers. So might as well put him out there. The adrenaline will be pumping, and I would have no problem if that's the case. Yeah, Chris, unfortunately the rain out yesterday messed up Lucchese's start, which was interesting because that was his debut. Like you said, that kind of sucks. But I think Lucchesi, unfortunately, is going to end up in the minors once again. And for what two and a half years now, Met fans have been talking about Lucchesi. Oh, you got to put him in the bullpen as a long man or in a rotation, and he's just had injuries and it's just been a bad situation for Lucchesi. Even if it wasn't with injury, it was just bad timing that he was healthy. Was that the rotation didn't really need a pitcher at the time when he was available and he was stuck in the minor league. So it's unfortunate, Lucchesi, but he will get his start eventually and probably make about 2 starts, maybe 3 before opening day, and we'll see where he's at. Come when the season is ready to go. And yes, McNeil is starting to swing a bat again, so that's good. Hopefully, within a week, you see him in a game. But it was a little worrisome, but it looks it's not as serious as everybody might have thought at first. But McNeil should be ready to go within a week and playing in games again. And hopefully, he remains healthy, and then we can actually go into opening day with a lineup that is healthy. So once the game starts, the game should be starting any minute now. Once the game starts, you'll get the audio on this 6:10 start. Well, it's going to be over 6:09 now. So 6:10 start, Mets Nationals, Jose Quintana on the mound. So once it starts, guys, I'll put the audio up and then you'll listen up. So the Mets are on the field in Clover Park in Port St. Lucie, Florida. The Nationals are just about to get ready to get to the plate. And of course, Port St. Lucie, if you haven't been there before, again, I always say go, please go. It's a lot of fun. Make sure you go early in the morning sometimes and watch the back. You get access to the backfields and you see a lot of the big league players, the prospects, the minor leaguers, practicing on all the fields that they have around there. So if you get a chance to go, make sure you go. All right, guys. So Jose Quintana is on the mound. He is throwing his last warm-up pitch, and the game's about to start. And you're going to get the audio right now. SNY, you got, I think it's Gary and Ron and Keith, maybe. Let's see. Oh, wait, it might be Steve Gelbs because I think Gary Cohen's doing Seton Hall stuff right now. So just let me know in the comments, guys, when I raise up the volume that you can hear the game in the comments. Here we go, guys.
Moving up for the Nationals, it's going to be Lane Thomas. There's the Mets manager, and also John Gibbons, two on the right of your screen. New Mets bench coach, longtime manager for the Toronto Blue Jays, former teammate of ours.
All right, first pitch going to happen now, guys.
And here's the first pitch tonight to Lane Thomas. Just misses, and we're underway. The thing I noticed last year with Quintana, Steve, is that he pitches inside to right-handers. There's one right there, yep. And that is, you can't live on that outside corner. And he does not live on that outside corner. He keeps hitters honest. He really is a throwback type pitcher in this day and age. That one smacked up the middle by Thomas.
All right, so that's a leadoff hit for Lane Thomas.
Lane Thomas off to a nice start this week for the Nationals. Now 6 for his first 16. And he had a really, really good year last year for the Nationals. He primarily plays against a left-handed pitcher, but he worked himself to a point last year where he had such a fine year. He played every day. Then that'll bring up James Wood, one of the top prospects in this Nationals organization, second-round pick of the Padres in 2021. As I mentioned, part of that Juan Soto trade. He takes that one to the side. He's a big guy. You can see that. And that's quite a year in the minor leagues last year. I don't care what classification you're playing in. 14th ranked prospect in all of baseball. Second prospect in the national system behind Dylan Cruz. You mentioned it. Tall, powerful, listed at 6'7", 234 pounds. That one just misses it.
This umpire is not calling anything close.
Local kid, too.
Tight strike zone.
Maryland. Played high school baseball down here in Florida at IMG Academy, alongside the Nationals 2022 first-round pick Elijah Green. 21 years of age. He's a youngster. It's Lee Thomas.
And they got him. Alvarez throwing him out at second base. So 1 out. Got him stealing. Perfect throw by Alvarez. And a nice tag by Francisco Lindor to get Thomas at second base. Nice. Very nice. Got him on the leg.
Nice play by Lindor. Press his approach right now to show a man off a left-hander, a veteran left-hander. Keeps the front shoulder in. Doesn't pull off the ball. The 2-2 to Wood.
Oh, Jesus. Where is that pitch? Look at that game day. It looks like it's just outside, but just missing on the corner.
Francisco Lindor, you can see, playing almost straight up the middle. Here's the payoff.
Round ball, right to Beatty. Nice play by Beatty. And strong throw, 2 outs. Nice play by Beatty. Playing a little bit of a shift there. Playing a little bit mostly towards shortstop.
So here comes Joe Meneses. Meneses was a fantastic story 2 seasons ago. Made his MLB debut after spending over a decade in the minors. Did so with a bang. Debuted in August that year. Had a 930 OPS the rest of the way. Really one of the good stories about the game. And guy that never quit. Got his opportunity. A lot of minor league years. Boy, he's turned into a nice little ball player. Yeah, good season last year. Not quite the same as 2022, those 2 months, but that's pretty tough to sustain. Played 154 games last year. Hit 275. That hot shot is just foul. And Quintana at 1-2. And that's just led Major League Baseball last year with 61 hits with runners in scoring position. Power numbers are down a little bit, but was dealing with a knee injury. Seems to be cleaned up and feeling healthy going into this spring.
This Marte getting in foul territory. Oh, careful. Don't want them to run into each other.
Kevin Holden 1-2. Joey Wendell got out there pretty quickly. Wendell's one of those guys that's going to play all like second, short, third. Really, second base is probably his best position. Had a tough year last year, and on here with the bat to 12. 1-2. Take it inside. Joey Wendell.
SC, I'm watching the game on SNY, buddy.
Bit of an issue with his shoulder. Carlos Mendoza is set to be playing most of second base to start before moving around.
And he strikes him up on a high fastball, and that ends the top of the first. So 1 hit given up by Quintana in the top of the first. Mets are coming up in the bottom of the first. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit on that like button. We got 72 in the stream right now for the Mets Nationals Watch Party Live right here on the channel. First of the 2024 season, obviously spring training. Games don't really matter, but it is a couple of interesting storylines with the third base competition between Vientos and Beatty, the DH situation, which is kind of up in the air, and the bullpen spots that are available probably around 2 or 3. So once again, the Mets are 5-5 in the spring training season and 6-4. are the Nationals. Jose Quintana just pitched in the top of the first, giving up 1 hit, has 1 strikeout. The Mets are going to be coming up. It's Nimmo, Lindor, Marte to lead off the bottom of the first. Yeah, Frank, I get it, but again, when you're a new guy that comes in like David Stearns, you want your own guy. Like I'm not gonna kill him for it. I don't like the way he did it, but it is what it is. Eric, I'm glad that I'm making you pass the time at work. But that's what I try to do. I know how it goes when it comes to work with that stuff. But hope at least I can bring a little bit of entertainment. And obviously, guys, this is the first night game of spring training, so that's always a good thing because they got to get the guys acclimated. All right, Jake Irvin's on the mound for the Nationals. The Mets are coming up at the bottom of the first. No score, 1 hit for the Nationals, and Brandon Nimmo's leading off.
Sooner. And Nimmo takes a pitch off the plate. 1-0. Jake Irvin kind of came out of nowhere last year, Keith. He started the season in AAA. I think there was a lot of expectation. That's where he'd spend most of the year. As Nimmo spoils that one on 1. But when Chad Cool struggled out of the gate and got injured, he was recalled in May and just never left. Made 24 starts. Had a really good stretch in the middle of the season. Had a 15-stretch start for a 15-start stretch, I should say, where he pitched to about a 3.5.
And that's a base hit for Brandon Nimmo up the middle.
Base hit to start things off for the Mets. The Nationals defense, Meneses at first base. He came up originally. He played a lot of third base. Carter Keeble, boy, they're giving him another shot. And this is getting towards the tail end for him. They really had high hopes for him, but it just hasn't happened. Thomas out in right Wood, the big 21-year-old prospect that they're hoping could be a superstar of the future in center. Francisco.
All right, Lindor's up now, batting second.
This spring.
Leadoff hit for Nimmo.
16, doubles the start. See, that season for Lindor last year really was a fantastic year all around. Then, when you consider and you hear after the fact that he played that entire season injured, sky's the limit for what he can do fully healthy this season. He got off to a tough start last year from the left side of the plate. Right-handed, he is solid. And you see his career numbers there. Also stolen over 30 bases, 31 bases last year. One of 6 shortstops in Major League history to do 30-30. Barry Larkin, A-Rod, Jimmy Rollins, Hanley Ramirez, Bobby Witt Jr., and Francisco Lindor both did it last year. Pulls that one foul, and leave it 2-2. Let's see, Irvin's a big kid. Tommy John surgery in 2020. Missed all of 21. Big kid. Swung on and foul tipped. They're just throwing Lindor here. Steady diet of breaking stuff. Okay, Jake Irvin, that tall guy, 6'6". He really is a big boy. Gave up 20 home runs last season. Had his ups and downs, but he's going to be a part of this rotation in 2024. Foul back at play. Ken holds it 2-2.
So nice at bat for Lindor, fouling some pitches off, staying alive.
Third bounding of the spring for Irvin. Had a real rough go of it last time against Houston. Gave up 7 runs, 6 earned in an inning, and 2/3. Played on by Lance Barksdale.
And Lindor strikes out with a tight slider in by the ankle. 1 out.
There's 1 away. Slider here. And it's down and off the strike zone. Tough pitch.
All right, Stahl and Marte batting third. 1 out, 1 on.
So here's Starling Marte. 5th game of the spring. 2 for 9 to start. But boy, Keith, it cannot be overstated just how critical a healthy Starling Marte is to where the Mets want to go.
There's no question about it. Even with his injury-plagued season last year, he did steal 24 bases. I did not see a lack of bat speed. I don't see it this spring. He stays healthy. Could very well be the Marte of old, and the Mets certainly lose it.
I'll tell you, Barksdale's got a tight strike zone to start in this spring game. That one nips the corner 1-1. Here's the career for Starling Marte. 47 bases in 2021 that led Major League Baseball. His 9 seasons with 20-plus stolen bases. No other player in that time has had
Nice
more than 7.
fastball.
Well, with the new rules now, we're getting back to more stolen bases as part of the game. I'm glad to see it come back.
And that key is what's so tantalizing about healthy Marte. Because last year, like you said, he wasn't healthy from day one. And he still swiped 24 bags in 86 games. So now you take into account, okay, the health, the new rules, a full season, just what could Starling Marte do on the base paths in 2024? Well, that was the case. Long hold, here's the 1-2. Now that play.
It's one of the rule changes that I'm not fond of is the only 3 times you can throw over the pitcher. I think it's reflective of what happened last year. We got that memo from MLB that stolen bases last season was over 80% success rate.
Ground ball should be a double play. And it is. So the Mets do not score in the bottom of the first. Marte hits into a double play. 2 and the inning. Going to the top of the second. Nationals coming up once again, guys. Hit on that like button. We got 66 in the stream right now. We had over 70 so far today. It's a pretty good showing for a spring training game. I do always appreciate you guys hanging out with me during a game. Now, let's be honest, doesn't really matter, but we got some baseball at night, and that's nice to see, right? Going through a tough winter, rough offseason if you're a Mets fan. Not the exact offseason that a lot of people wanted, but it's still baseball season. 3 weeks away until opening day at Citi Field against the Brewers. A lot of things still up in the air. The Mets opening day starter. It would have been Senga if he was healthy. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Can it be Quintana? Can it be McGill? Could it be Luis Severino? Very interesting to see. But I do think it's going to be either between – I think it's most likely going to be Jose Quintana. But I wouldn't be shocked if Carlos Mendoza shocks the world, and if Luis Severino continues to pitch well in spring training, maybe they give Luis Severino a start on opening day, which would be that would be interesting. I tell you that. But going to the top of the second, 0-0 is the score. Marte hit into a double play in the inning. Nimmo got a leadoff base hit, so it's 1 hit apiece from both sides. Let's see. Just trying to check something out here. Excuse me. Eric, I have no problem with McGill. If he continues to pitch well, I have no problem with him, one, being in the rotation and two, being the open day starter. He's done it before, 2 years in a row. Let's make it 3 in a row. Let's make it a 3-strike turkey. Why not? No, Drifter, you know what? I'm not going to go crazy about the Mets offseason and the game is on. We'll talk about that once the half inning is over. So, top of the second, no score.
Now to Michelle Margot, standing by with another.
Thanks to here with Alfonso, like you said, that's legend.
Oh, I feel great. Great to be back and see the talents of the Mets and see the people.
Tell us what's up.
I went to Venezuela, Manitoba, there, back here, been home for a little while and come here to spring training. So I'll be around baseball all year round.
We love that for you. Now, since you've been down here, have you had an opportunity to work with any of the players?
I've been seeing the guys. Just every time they're going to do something, go in the cage.
Talking to Algado Alfonso right now.
And when I have a chance to talk to each guy before, and they pretty good listening. So I'm so happy, because these days kind of tough with the new guys, but they pretty good listen, and it's fun when they get something when you tell them.
What kind of words have you instilled in them?
Well, it's inspired. I mean, pretty much.
Striking out Gallo. 1 out.
The things that I went through, I would like to they know about how they're gonna react to it in a situation like that. But like I said, they pretty good listening. They care a lot and try to give them an experience of what I went through in Europe.
So far.
Everybody. I mean, everybody. I think all the guys here, they really enjoy watching them. Baby, I think we expect from Baby a great year this year. He been working so hard. Him and Viento, they've been working so hard third base. Hopefully, they came through and they held it to the front to win games.
Carlos Mendoza, how should you that manager?
Carlos, I know Carlos for a while back in Venezuela. I'm so proud when you get the job right now. Seeing him, I think it's going to be exciting watching him all year round. I think he knows New York because he was on the other side. So he's going to have a great opportunity to do some stuff here with the Mets.
What's something about him that we have yet to find out?
The character. I think he got a good character. He seems like he's a guy, but he got he's one of the great.
All right, so 1 on, 1 out. Top of the second. So, guys, just a little update, guys. Once they start bringing in other players, like in the 5th inning or so, depending on how many guys are still in the lineup, it won't be a long stream. It won't be a full game. Just FYI, just to let you guys know. Just wanted to get the main guys, the pitchers, the lineup, getting a couple of at-bats, and then we'll call it a night.
And phenomenal postseason. First in Mets playoff history, hits, runs, RBI. He was clutch. What a defender. What do you think? Greatest infield ever? Was it the greatest infield ever?
It's certainly right there. Yeah. I mean, we had Olerud, who was fabulous. Ventura at third. Ordonez at short. And Fonzie, I mean, it's kind of hard to top that, isn't it?
Sure is.
And Quintana hit him. So 2 on, 1 out. Top second.
But Nixon takes his base.
Those don't hurt.
Well, hey, look at those. Look at the sweat. Jose Quintana.
It is kind of a cool night, 73 degrees, but there's always humidity in the air.
Now with 2 on is Drew Millis. Millis, a 7th round pick of Oakland in 2019. He was acquired at the 2021 deadline in the deal that sent Yan Gomes and Josh Harrison to Oakland. Switch hitter. Vargas off second. Kieboom off first. Where that missed.
A little bit down. Right now, Quintana is just missing on the corners. I mean, it's always his focus the majority of the time to keep the ball down, even though he went upstairs and struck out. And as it's in that first inning, that's the strikeout pitch ahead in the count.
This gentleman keeping that ball in front of him. It looks like, Vargas a little dinged up there, going back to the base.
No, he's going to get advanced. It's one of the new rules where you can't block the base, Steve. I believe the second baseman came in and blocked. You can't block with your foot or your knee.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of I don't know, that's tough. It's not like he put his foot in front or his knee down in front, but that's one of the new rules. So it's going to happen. It's given an extra base.
So Vargas at third. He's dancing down the line.
All right, first and third, one out.
Steps off.
27 pitches for Quintana.
One of the new rule changes that players that were instituted this season.
But one more to notice.
Nice pitch.
There's that high pitch again that gets the swinging strike. So Quintana knows when to use it. It's not a hard thrower, keeps the ball down, but he can still get you swinging and missing at the top of the zone.
So that is what is for interference. It can't be an error. Can't be so there's no error on the board. So I guess it's just an interference call.
Interference, the runner advances.
Yep.
You like that rule?
Yes. Mike Schmidt was one of the best at third base. Infielders really knew how. I got picked off third base one time at Busch Stadium. I learned my lesson. He was with his knee, and I was head first back, and I'm threw the ball down third base, and very embarrassed.
Nice pitch. Fastball inside corner, 2 outs. That's a nice pitch. Tied him up. Quintana throws 90-91, but it's a sneaky fastball.
Quintana pitches inside to the right-handers.
That'll bring up Jacob Young, 7th round pick of the Nets in 2021. His major league debut a season ago. Takes a fastball for a strike. Speed is the name of Young's game. Big time base stealing threat. Stole 13 bases in 33 games in the big leagues last year. Takes that one high, counting at 1-1. Young advanced 3 levels of Washington's system in 2023, then made his major league debut. Baby with a beard. Well, he's an elder statesman now. 7th season as Nationals manager.
How about that? 2019 year was magic for the Senators. The Nationals.
Well, you know, that 2019
First and third, 2 outs.
John, such a rough start that year. And there were a lot of people that thought he would be a candidate, but the Nationals stuck with it, turned it around, and it was a magical year. He's stayed on through the rebuild. It's a team that's starting to get closer with a lot of these prospects they acquired.
Ground ball.
High
And Joey Wendell doesn't get there. Run scores, 2 out, run scored. Joey Wendell couldn't get it to first in time.
Now here we go. Here, Lindor's not going to get to the bag there. He beats it. That gets an RBI too.
All right.
I mean, that's
Jeremy Hefter came out to the mound.
the thing that could keep him in the big leagues.
1-0 Nationals, top of the second.
That's speed. Jeremy Hefner.
36 pitches for Quintana. I'm assuming Quintana is probably going to pitch around 60 or so pitches.
Geraldo Parra, the new first base coach for the Washington Nationals. Yeah, speaking of 2019, yep. Baby Shark, yes. Got a 2-year-old at home now, and it's too much. Too much Baby Shark. And here's Dusty's son, Darren Baker. At 9th for the Nationals today. First major league camp for Darren. 10th round pick in 2021 out of UC Berkeley.
So Darren Baker went from single A to triple A last year. Dusty Baker's son.
Berkeley falls behind 0-2. Baker hits for average, but not too much power. 286 batting average in 3 minor league seasons, but just a 361 slugging percentage. Quintana looking to get out of the second. Just one across.
Hey, curveball. Strike 3, got him looking. National score 1 run. And they lead 1-0 going to the bottom of the second. Once again, guys, I'll be doing about 5 innings or so just to get back in the groove of things and show the new setup for the live stream during Mets games. And this is probably what it's going to look like. Again, there'll be a little bit more adjustments. I'm trying to make the game day a little bit bigger. But game day, for some reason, when you try to share the screen, it doesn't make you increase the size, and then it looks all weird and it's too close up and it's just odd. But I'll figure something out and probably make my big ass face a little smaller on my screen just to get a little bit more game day action on top of there, so you have a better view and experience. But yeah, easy. The Wheeler extension, yeah, I don't think, even if Wheeler became a free agent and was a free agent after this season, I don't think the Mets were signing them anyway, to be honest with you. I don't think Zach Wheeler would have came back. So I think that, the extension really didn't do nothing for me, except that, it's just one guy off the board. The only thing that I see that's a problem now, not just for the Mets, but for other teams, is that now there's less pitchers on the board for free agency, which means more competition for those pitchers. It's going to be harder to get the Corbin Burns of the world, the Buehlers, the Biebers, stuff like that. But we'll see. Again, it's going to be a very interesting offseason because not only do the Mets have to get pitching, they got to re-sign Alonso and possibly go after Soto big time. So it's one of the more very intriguing off seasons. But again, we got a whole 2024 season to get through before we worry about the 2024 off season. Before we get going into that, all right. Pete Alonso leading off, 1-0 Nationals, bottom second, and Alonso hits a fly ball, 1 out.
Lane Thomas re-up to the we saw one of the new rules in that last half inning. Joey Wendell getting called for interference obstruction. We didn't have a discussion in between innings with Edwin Jimenez about exactly what he did, because it did look like he gave Vargas the path back to second base, leaving room in between his legs. Didn't put his knee all the way down.
I would be in total agreement with you.
All right, Brett Beatty.
Important that you understand.
One out in the second.
Spring training is newly instituted. It's a bad throw too on bounce. But you see that hand got in, right? Yes. And it was the throw of the dirt, and he had to, go down and try to keep it in front. It's just, I think we're going to have some problems with that. I think it's unnecessary, to be honest with you. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it's still early. We've seen this with the recent rule changes that spring. Heavy enforcement.
And Beatty strikes out rather quickly.
Pitches.
Look at it. Now, the front of the turf, so he's already going to get down. It's off to the side, and he has to get down and need to go get it down to the third, and he gets penalized for it. Or actually, the Mets get penalized for it.
And you can see where Jimenez was standing, too. Very difficult for him to tell if that knee is fully down.
So he's trying to prevent the ball from getting into the field.
All right, Alvarez is up. 2 outs.
Meanwhile, 2 quick outs, and here's Francisco Alvarez. 2 for 10 to start the spring with a home run and a pair of ribbies.
You know the batting average there with Francisco 209, and you look at his season, a great month, a bad month, a very bad month, a comeback month, and a very bad month. Up and down, up and down. To me, that shows a lot of mental strength from a rookie. Because those couple months he had, he was on the interstate, hitting under 200 for a month. And you could lose your confidence, and he didn't.
494 OPS in April, over 1,000 in May, 534 in June, almost 1,000 in July, 456 in August, and then finishes 735. It was up and down like that, but to your point, Keith, that was what impressed the Mets coaching staff the most, was that he got himself out of it right.
And Alvarez takes one on the outside corner looking, and that was a quick 1-2-3 inning for the Mets. Top of the third, 1-0 Nationals. Once again, guys, we got 70 in the stream right now. Make sure you hit on that like button before anything else. The more likes we get, the more this stream gets at the top of the list for people who are looking for this type of content. So once again, guys, live stream during the games, you'll get the game day audio the game day visual, seeing what's going on. The score will constantly be up. You get the lineups, you get the pitches that's going on as well. You'll also get the play-by-play from whatever network the Mets are on. Right now, they're on SNY, and that's where you're getting. You'll have the starting lineups for both teams. You'll have the starting pitching matchups for both teams and their records, similar to what you're going to see during the season. So getting ready for another season of Mets baseball that will probably end in disaster because we like misery, unfortunately. Ricardo, I said this already. I don't like the way Beatty's looking at all. I don't. His bat's got to get better. His defense is not good enough to say, all right, well, at least his defense is good. He's just he's an in-between player right now, and that's worrisome. You could say you want to play the kids all you want, but if they don't perform and don't show you anything, you can't just throw them out there and just continue to make them fail. Because you got other guys on the team that want to win. You can't just throw the guy out there and say, well, we got to see the kid. No, you don't. After a while, you got to put somebody else there that deserves to get a shot and put him out there, even if it is a young kid. That's fine. Nah, Frank, I'm not waiting and seeing. It's pretty clear so far that Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos are a problem. They're a huge problem. And, it's not just about 2 weeks of spring. It was about, a lot of games last year for both of those guys. They just didn't do it for me, to be honest with you. All right, top of the third, 1-0 Nationals. Jose Quintana is coming out for the third. It looks like Jose Quintana is probably going to pitch about 60 pitches or so. He's already at 39.
Keith, we were talking about Francisco Alvarez and what he was able to show the coaching staff in terms of his offense. But what I think impressed a lot of his teammates the most was the way he handled the defensive responsibilities and the pitching staff and the veteran pitching staff. And I was talking to Quintana about Alvarez this spring. And he said that for a guy that young to be that trusted really opened some eyes. Quintana said that there were times he'd be on the mound and he would think, I don't know if that's the right pitch. That's not the pitch I would throw, but I trust Alvarez, so I'm going to throw it.
Well, that's good to hear. And for someone to take charge like he did, and this was last year was a very veteran rotation. And for him as a rookie not to be gunshot, to go up to a Scherzer or a Verlander or Quintana, and we might pull the rank back a little bit.
That's another strikeout. So Jose Quintana with 5 strikeouts early in the third inning.
5 strikeouts for Quintana in 2 3rd innings.
Let's make a correction here. Our trusted play-by-play guy back in Connecticut, Mr. Cohen, said that it is an error on that it's called interference, and it's charged an error. Gary did not specify who the error was charged to. I'm sure it was charged to the offender, right? To the offender. And he said it's not a new rule. It's always been on the books, but it's never been enforced in Major League Baseball.
There's the power from Woods.
That's a shot, but it looks like Bader's there, 2 outs.
On the warning track, makes the grab, 2 away.
So thank you, Gary.
And congratulations, Gary. You're in the big Seton Hall win yesterday over Villanova.
Wonderful. Gary said, and then
here's Joey Meneses with 2 away. Meneses, the first strikeout victim for Quintana.
Meanwhile, that would be cool.
There's a high fastball that misses something away.
and this is a big ballpark too.
Actually, putting stuff on my wall behind me. Sometimes my cat Shay kind of likes to mess around with the bobbleheads and stuff on the wall sometimes.
Another swing and miss.
Well, what's going on there? They're not moving. Well,
Yeah, Ricardo, exactly. That's the problem with Beatty. Like, if he was playing really good defensively or even above average defensively, I would say, all right, let's see if the bat comes around. But when nothing is showing anything, it's hard to say, oh, let's throw him out there and start the season. Like, again, that's a shot. Lindor in the hole. Got him. Oh, almost missed making that throw.
Nice defensive play by Lindor to make it close.
Oh, Norwegian forest cats. Those are beautiful cats.
That is a long way out there in that left shallow left field. It's a long throw right there. And you clearly beat it.
Oh, that one gets away. Trotting into second base.
Just a bit outside.
That has to be a cross-up there. That has to be a cross-up. Or that ball just did something unnatural. It looked like it really ran. It's pretty much a straight fastball. Guy Quintana looked like this ball just really ran away from the left-hander.
I'll just like I was saying, Keith, the two of them on the same page.
Yes. Good timing there, right? Yep. What Ralph Brandon used to say, me and my big mouth.
We were like, wow. 52 pitches deep for Quintana. 2 away here in the third. Runner on second base. Joey Gallo back. Nips the outside corner. 1-2.
But they're just painting Gallo away. And Joey likes to pull the ball, and he's stubborn, and he's going to take that pitch away, and just makes him a mistake hitter.
Nice curveball. And Quintana gets out of the inning. 1-0 Nationals going to the bottom of the third. So you get Vientos, Wendell, and Bader. 7, 8, 9 coming up in the bottom of the third. Yeah, Mike. You can give George Brett. You can get whoever you want for Brett Beatty. At some point, you ain't gonna have the coach in your ear. You got to get up at the plate and do the job. Again, there's failed prospects all the time, right? Beatty could be a product of being a failed prospect. Again, no matter how much hype you get, you can be a failed prospect. It's very possible. And again, I'm not throwing him out the window yet and saying that's it, he's done. But I mean, this is an opportunity where the Mets basically are pushing you to third base and saying it's your job. Hold on to it. And he can't even do that. Like they didn't sign Justin Turner for one of the reasons to make sure that Brett Beatty doesn't have a tremendous amount of pressure looking behind his back for somebody to take his spot. Like when you have Mark Vientos as your competition, you should win that third base job with ease because Vientos is positionless. He is not a third baseman, a very good third baseman. He's not even a good third baseman. Like it shouldn't be hard for Brett Beatty to win that third base job because there's questions going around in the first 2 weeks of spring training about third base and it's still up in the air. It shows you how much Brett Beatty isn't doing even an above average job. He don't even have to be really, really good. He just has to be a slightly above average, and he wins the job easily over Vientos. And in 2 weeks, he hasn't done that yet. That's the problem that I'm having. Easy, not to give up. It's just the fact that like the Mets are literally telling you you are the third baseman. Don't lose the job in spring training. And Mark Vientos is your competition. Shouldn't be that hard. And speaking of Mark Vientos, he's leading off the bottom of the third.
Swings through that ball behind him too.
And Vientos strikes out on 3 pitches. As I said, Vientos and Beatty aren't really trying to win the job here. Nobody's taking it.
You can see that ball ran in full Alvarez.
So it looks like Jose Quintana might be done for the day.
Now that ball ran. So completely tied up.
Next up, the pitch for the Mets will be Adam Ottavino.
So here's Joey Wendell, his first step out of the spring for the Mets, swinging first pitch. As you mentioned, Keith.
Easy, no, because I was a big fan of Brett Beatty. I loved his swing. Last year when I was in, was it last year? Yeah, last year when I went to spring training, I went down. They had the intra-squad game where Brett Beatty and Ronnie Mauricio were the stars of the game. I want Brett Beatty to succeed. I was excited that they brought him up late in 2021, excuse me. So, like, I liked it. I really want him. He's a left-handed batter. I love left-handed batters. I'm left-handed. It makes me feel good to see him. But, again, my eyes are telling me that there's a problem with Brett Beatty. He goes back down to the minors. He bats 350 with home runs. He gets back to the majors after they fixed his swing. And that's 2 outs, hit the center field. They bring him back up after he figures things out, quote unquote, in the minors. And then he does the exact same thing prior to when he got sent back down to the minors. He has no problem hitting AAA pitching or minor league pitching. When he gets up to the majors, he can't hit major league pitching. It's a problem. Like it's more than enough games to see that he's not actually figuring out major league pitching. Now, hopefully he does. Listen, it's better for the Mets for Brett Beatty to win to be their third baseman of the future. It makes it a lot easier to have him at third base because now you have a lot more answers than you do question marks. And Harrison Bader is up, batting ninth for the Mets. 2 outs in the third, 1-0 Nationals.
colorful. Those are the Bruce Bolt brand, which I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you were on this series, Keith, me talking about this a couple of years ago, but the Bruce Bolt brand has started to really seep into the majors. Brandon Nimmo, I believe, was the first one to use them on the Mets. It's a much more durable batting glove. Doesn't rip much. So Nimmo's got, we see Nimmo's got the bullets everywhere. Pretty sure Pete Alonso uses them now. Neil maybe. But it's just a kid. Kid started the company. And if I remember correctly, he started the company and called it Bruce Bolt because his grandfather was named Bruce, and he got struck by lightning twice and survived. I may be wrong on the exact details, but I do know his grandfather got struck by lightning twice. I believe you. Okay. More than you bargained for about the Bruce Bolt batting gloves today.
Oh, Bader, that might nope, just not enough. That's the third out, and that is it. And yes, Christopher, I know I said that in the beginning. I put center field for both of them. Nimmo is playing left field, and Bader's playing center field. That's a typo. My bad. It's spring training. Got to work out the kinks. All right, so we're going to the top of the fourth. Mets trail 1-0 to the Nationals. Once again, guys, just going to do about 5 innings today just to get back into the groove and just to give everybody an idea who's new to the channel or hasn't seen a live stream during a game, showing everybody the setup. So it's only a 5-inning type of stream. So get your likes in now, get your comments in now, since we got about another inning and a half, 2 innings to go before the stream ends. Frank, it's not about to say who's ready. You got enough veteran guys that in the situation where Beatty is not doing the job and gets sent down and doesn't make the opening day roster, I wouldn't be shocked if they bring up a guy like Iglesias or, have a guy like Zach Short, somebody who is good defensively, which Stearns talked about run prevention. I'd rather have a guy that is really good with the glove and, not as good with the bat, knowing that the infield will be very, very good defensively with a pitching staff that is predominantly a ground ball pitching staff. So, or pitching rotation. So, that's the problem that I'm having with Beatty. I'm not even telling Beatty to, go crazy with the bat. If he was solid at third base, I wouldn't be too concerned about the bat. I let him ride with the team and try to figure it himself out offensively. But because he's not very good at third base, there is nothing that he's done well, and that's the problem. And the same goes for Vientos. I think the Mets really want Vientos to be the third baseman because of his bat. But even Vientos hasn't shown anything in spring training with his bat either. All right, so Adam Ottavino was in the game in the top of the fourth, 1-0 Met Nationals. Quintana was 3 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 run.
Veteran reliever, tough on right-handers. We know that last year, with the new rules, it really affected Adam. They stole his pants off, as a matter of fact.
Well, Duran, that's what the Mets are doing. And I have no problem giving him the spring. But my concern is the Mets are going to give Brett Beatty the job just because, because of default. Nobody really won the job, and they'll give it to Brett Beatty. But how long are you going to give him? Until the month of April? I don't know. Listen, I was very excited for with Brett Beatty. I was a big fan of his. If you go back to my channel 2 years ago, that's all I talked about was Brett Beatty. I loved his swing, but sometimes it just doesn't pan out. I mean, it's early yet, but and Adam Ottavino walks the leadoff hitter.
And this essentially would be potentially a double, right? And the thing about Ottavino is he's such a ground ball pitcher, it takes him out of double plays as well. Correct.
That also puts him in hot water with the runner in the scoring position, obviously. Big lead, big lead. And he goes, first pitch.
And got him. What a throw by Alvarez to get him at second base. 1 out.
There you go. First inning of work, he's already got that one caught steal. Great, got rid of the ball so quickly. Right on the button.
And you got a catcher like that can throw runners out. It's a weapon.
That was a better throw than the first one. Francisco Alvarez with an impressive pair of throws, though, to start this game. Carter Kieboom, the batter.
Ground ball. That's a base hit through the hole. Dive in Lindor.
Francisco Lindor. Kieboom off for the second time today. Got himself a hanging slider.
No, Christopher, I agree. Look, everybody knew I wasn't the biggest fan of Brandon Nimmo, right? I think analytics is a big part of why he's really good defensively at center field, but he was really good at center field. But I think the Mets want to keep him healthy long term. And to do that, you putting him in left field saves a lot more running that he would do in center field. That's why I think they moved him to left field. And Bader is better than Nimmo in center field. So it makes sense to put Nimmo in left field. One, to keep him healthy, and to make your defense even better in the outfield. Because Nimmo would be a great left fielder, considering how well he was in center field.
Not being able to hold runners on. But yeah, there it goes. Swung on a pitch, the throw. Well, did they get him?
And he throws out another guy at second base. Alvarez gunning guys out at second base. 2 outs.
2 base runners attempting to steal. 2 base runners thrown out by Alvarez. I tell you what, if he had a slightly bigger lead, he would have been safe. I think he beat him to the back. But he slid off.
Easy, slightly, yes.
Looking at pop-up time here.
And he strikes him out to end the inning. So that was a very interesting inning for Adam Ottavino. Exactly what you would get from Adam Ottavino. A couple of walks. Guys try to steal. But, again, I told people this when they signed Ottavino. Ottavino didn't really have a bad season last year. With the high walk rate and the low strikeout rate, he had a lot of men on base, but he stranded a lot of guys on base. You don't have a 3.2 ERA last year without stranding a lot of the runners you put on. And again, if he limits those walks, he can be even better because he was really good last year stranding runners, even though he put a lot of runners on. Well, meanwhile, exactly. Like if Mauricio didn't get hurt, Mauricio would have been your third baseman. Beatty and Vientos, I don't know where they would be. Maybe Vientos would still be trying out for DH spot. Beatty, I don't know. Maybe the Mets would have traded Brett Beatty. I don't know. Maybe they would have traded Brett Beatty like you heard earlier in the offseason, that the Mets could have traded Brett Beatty to the Marlins for Luzardo, the lefty pitcher. Right? That was the talk. The Marlins have been trying to get Brett Beatty for a couple of years now. That was the talk of the offseason as well. Meech, what's up? I agree, Meech, 100% about Ottavino. Yeah, exactly, Duran, right? It's better for Nimmo to be in left field. Not only that he's going to be an even better left fielder than he is in center field, it's going to keep him healthier. And that's who you want, right? It was the Mets showed you last year, even with the Billy Epler regime, they moved Nimmo to left field later in the year to protect him, to keep him healthy. No, easy, he's not. But again, you can't the facts are the facts. His ERA was still really good last year because he stranded a ton of runners. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I checked it out the other day because I was looking at like pitchers holding on runners because the new stats and all that, the new rules and stuff like that. Ottavino, I think, was top 10 in the league in stranded runners as a reliever. So he's still doing a good job in that aspect of it. Now, you'd rather him not put on runners, but if he can still get out of it, I'll deal with it. Nobody, 100%, buddy, 100%. It really did put a wrench in the Mets' plans when Mauricio went down in the Winter League.
Brandon Nimmo, that one goes out of the stadium. Counting at 2-2. Nimmo, the only base runner for the Mets so far tonight. Singled in the first, was erased by a double play ball.
And Nimmo gets another base hit. Nimmo 2 for 2. Mariana, yes, I'll be there on opening day. That's cool that you got your son that for his birthday. That's cool. Easy, that's fine. You don't have to trust him. But facts are facts, my friend. I don't like that he puts a lot of runners on, but he strands those runners. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. All right, one out, nobody out. One on, Lindor up.
Francisco Lindor 0 for 1, struck out in the first inning. And he's behind 0-2. Now, Keith, you were mentioning that for Lindor was a tough start from the left side. It was actually the first time in his career last year where he hit more home runs from the right side than from the left side. It's 16 as a righty and 15 as a left. Correct.
And Lindor strikes out.
Misses on that strike. He's hit 281.
Alien, I'm concerned about those City Connect jerseys, man. I think they're going to completely screw it up. I think it needs to say something with Queens and the New York skyline.
Good location.
But I really think they're going to screw it up. I hope it's not orange, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of orange jerseys, like full orange jerseys. But I hope they do something with Queens related with the Mets. Like, it's very simple. Like, take the Mets skyline in their logo with the bridge, put it on the jersey, put Queens, and pick it blue or black with a little bit of like a blue trim or an orange trim. But I hope they don't do an orange jersey. I'd be pissed. I know the 7 line will like it because that makes it stand out as the 7 line usually does with the orange shirts. But yeah, I hope it's not an orange. I'd be pissed. It's not even just the jersey. What are they going to do with the pants, right? Because the pants could be a similar color to the jersey, like the White Sox have. Like most of the teams have similar color of the jerseys. Imagine them with orange tops and orange. Oh my God. They'll look like a damn freaking orange from produce. Oh, that looks like line drive. Well, Nimmo kept on running. Thought it was 2 outs. Got doubled up, and that ends the bottom of the 4th. So Marte hits the line drive to left field. Nimmo, I think, was either thought it was 2 outs or was stealing the base, but he got doubled up at first, and the Mets are done in the 4th. So once again, guys, this will be the last inning for the stream. Gonna do it until the 5th inning just to get back in the groove. Since this is the first night game of the year for spring training, I thought I'd do it just to give people a little bit of understanding of how I do live streams. If you're new to the channel and the first time during a game, while I'm live. This is the new setup that I'm gonna do. Last year it was much different. I didn't the lineups on the screen all the time. It was usually scrolling on the bottom. But this is going to be the setup for this year. Again, I'm going to try to make game day a little bit bigger. I'm trying to fit a little bit more. I like the lineup and the pitching matchups. So when somebody comes on, they can see what the lineup at least was when the game started and the pitching matchup. You will have the two teams logos, the records of both teams, and of course my channel logo with my X account, X handle, and all that stuff. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting with the City Connect. What is it, April 26th? They're going to do it. So we'll see. Listen, if it's black jersey or a blue jersey, I'm okay. I don't care what anything else looks like, to be honest with you. It's very hard to mess it up. But again, Nike has done a terrible job with some of these City Connect jerseys. But let's hope they don't mess it up. Like, I think it's fairly simple to do the Mets City Connect. Like, again, write Queens on the chest, maybe a New York skyline with a little bit of neon type of orange and blue skyline, and make the jersey blue or black. Like, I don't think it's that hard. But we'll see. So they're talking to Jose Quintana, so listen up. Top of the fifth, 1-0 Nationals.
Trainings. My command was after the second one, and even in the first inning, 2 more pitches, but it was really close.
Is there anything specifically that you were working on today?
Tempo. I'm working my
Jake Diekman's in the game now for the Mets.
And try to pull away the hitters quickly as I can. And that works really good for my body. Strong, and really every single pitch I throw the first break.
You've experienced a lot of big league spring trainings. Where do you want to be at in terms of readiness at this point in spring after a second start?
Well, after second start, I'm still progressing. I'm feels close. I think as soon as we get more pitches, get more up downs, we're gonna feel way better. So it's pretty close.
You're in the mix for opening day. Does having a rain out like yesterday and kind of pushing your start back a day affect the progression at all in terms of scheduling?
No, not really. The next one's gonna be in 5 days, so everybody just move 1 day. And yeah, we're in a schedule. So our rotation right now is gonna be good. So everybody in 5 days. So yeah, finally we're gonna play tonight. So we need to keep progressing and throw the ball well. Be prepared.
All right, Jose, I'm gonna let you get out of here before we get hit by it. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Steve.
Michelle, if the bat comes your way, just you got to follow Luis Guillorme, grab it one-handed, keep going on with your thing.
I know. Before this, I actually said to Jose, I said, "Can you keep an eye out for me because my back's gonna be turned?" But that one, I think it was big enough to know.
Did Michelle flinch? I didn't see it. Did you flinch?
Never.
She didn't even know it was coming. I'll tell you, Keith, she is smarter than me down there because she has the player looking at home plate.
Carlos, that would be interesting.
And when I
Sanders, I 100% agree.
To home plate, I am at major risk.
All right, should be a pop-up.
That's because you don't have any bad sides, Steve, and I do, so I have to stand this way.
One out.
Yeah, either don't have any bad sides or I have all bad sides, so it doesn't matter. All right, so here comes Darren Baker. And we mentioned, Keith, that he is Dusty Baker's son. Now, does everybody remember what Darren Baker is known for?
I'll give a hint. The California Angels, San Francisco Giant World Series. What year was that?
2002.
Over 20 years ago. Can you believe it?
I mean, he was 3.5 as he gets that one through the left side of the infield for a base hit. But he was 3.5. Now he's in Major League camp. And this is what happened when he was 3.5. JT Snow, after a Kenny Lofton triple, saving him.
I remember that too, yeah.
Oh boy. In the World Series, something tells me there cannot be a 3-year-old out there on the field. Sorry.
Now, I just read an interview with Derek Baker recently that adds an element to the story that I did not know. So, Derek Baker's favorite player was Kenny Lofton. And he was not the only son, Darren, of a member of that Giants team that was a bat boy that night. Apparently, Barry Bonds' 13-year-old son, Nikolai, was one of the bat boys as well. And the two of them were talking, and Nikolai said, I'm going to go get Kenny Lofton's bat. And because Darren was such a big fan, as soon as that bat dropped, he just took off to beat Nikolai, not really thinking about the fact that 3.5 years old, and they were in the middle of a play in the World Series game.
And thank goodness that JT Snow was able to make the rescue there.
And here he is.
Flyer ball. That might be gone. Nope, Bader got it at the warning track, 2 out. Nice play by Bader to track that ball down the warning track.
And Russ Ortiz was throwing a gem. He took him out of the game, let him walk off with the game ball, and that was not good karma.
That was also, what was the other thing we were talking about? Oh, the food room.
There was the right field line. There was a double down the line, and it was the Giant. It was in Anaheim Stadium, and the Giant right fielder went for the ball to pick it up against the wall. And those thunder, what are they called?
Like clapping
The thunder sticks. Thunder sticks. One guy was sitting in the front row there with two of them. It was
Alien,
right field,
I agree with you.
over his back as he was getting the ball. But what is going on with this game?
between that, Darren Baker running onto the field in the middle of the game. A lot going on in the World Series. How Keith Hernandez ever happens that?
If someone hit the thunder stick,
Yeah.
well, I'd have to get the ball in first. Then I probably would have turned to doom foul. I don't know, but that's over 20 years ago. But it's fun to now. It's interesting now that we see him. He's a grown man now in the big leagues.
Round ball should end the inning.
High shot. Deep in,
And, woo. And a nice inning by Diekman. Going to the bottom of the 5th. 1-0 Nationals. Again, this will be the last half inning, guys. 5 innings today. And we'll call it a night. Again, just getting started back with the live streams during games. Again, when the season starts, we'll get through the whole game together when the Mets start playing. So we'll have a lot of these. Also, guys, make sure you check me and Chris out on the amazing Mets pregame show live for almost every Mets game. We're going to do a monthly schedule of games we're going to be doing pre-games. Again, we're going to do, as we would love to do all 162, but again, we got work, we got lives, scheduling could be an issue, especially with games, day games, night games, late night games. But we'll definitely be doing that a lot during the season. Obviously, the first one of the amazing Mets pregame show will be on opening day. I'll be at Citi Field, so you'll get a little bit of the tailgate vibe from Citi Field on opening day on March 28th. Hopefully we get a good day and no rain, and hopefully it's not 20 degrees, which it probably won't be, but we'll see. Alien, yeah, I still do that, unfortunately. But it is what it is. But we'll be ready for that, so make sure you check that out. And we're going to have a new look to the Mets Roundtable. We will make an announcement towards that when it gets closer and closer to opening day. So make sure you tune in, check that out in about a week and a half or so. We'll have an update on the Mets Roundtable and new logo for the Mets Roundtable and all that fun stuff, as well as new season, new appearances, new looks, new faces. So we'll definitely keep that going, and Mets Roundtable will be back and better than ever. Most likely, Mets Roundtable will be on Thursdays because that's the majority of the Mets off days this year is on Thursdays. Last year it was on Mondays. So we'll see how that goes. So, all right, Alonso's up. Bottom of the 5th, 1-0 Nationals.
Not his salary. That's true. Very wise to sign that 2-year deal.
Lyon, the new pitcher for the Nationals after 4 very impressive innings from Jake Irvin. First batter he sees is Pete Alonso.
Lyon originally came up with the Yankees back in 2016. Remember him well with the Marlins.
17th pro season for Richard Lyon. Pitched for the Yankees, the Orioles, the Marlins, the Red Sox. Last year was rough, though. Arguably his worst season ever.
Oh, Alonso might have just tied the game, and that ball just not enough at the 1-track 1 out.
He just missing his second home run of the spring.
Well, that sounded good. Like I said, it's a big ballpark. And there's that power swing. Look at the follow through, too. It's the back of the shoulder. It's much like Mike Piazza used to. Piazza used to take that full follow through, the back right around his shoulder blade.
Brett Beatty swinging first pitch. Goes out play. By the way, on that around the majors board that we showed, I don't know if you caught it, but Nationals made a signing yesterday. Eddie Rosario, the former Brave, NLCS MVP from when they won the World Series. They signed him yesterday to a minor league deal. It's an interesting veteran signing for a young Nationals team. Davey Martinez said he's having an absolute blast this spring.
What a smart play by Beatty there. Very smart. Notice the third baseman was back and dropped the bunt down. That's some good awareness right there. He's not doing well with the bat. Get on base any way you can. Smart play by Beatty.
Look at the third baseman's playing. I mean, it's a gift.
Good job by Brett Beatty. Like the awareness there. All right, here's Francisco Alvarez.
So, Keith, in general, obviously that's the right play. In spring training, do you like Beatty squaring like that, or do you want him to get his swings in and get his work in?
I would rather see him swing back.
Would, yeah.
And I'm sure Eric Chavez would as well. I mean, it is the right play. If they're doing that in the season, they're going to give it to you. Fine. That's the right situation. Kind of when spring, you want to get your stroke.
Let me ask you this. We hear all the time about guys that are struggling during the season, that sometimes all it takes is an infield single to get you going again. Beatty's off to a bit of a rocky start this spring. Does the same hold true in a spring training setting?
I don't think there's anything etched in stone as far as that's concerned. I think more times than not is when you hit the ball hard. That's the one you go, oh, there it is. Where have you been hiding for the last 25 at bats for crying out loud? There it is. Then you're on your way.
So Beatty up first. Francisco Alvarez behind in the count 0-2.
Uh-oh. That might be gone, and it is. Oh, yeah. 2-run homer from Francisco Alvarez. 2-1 Mets in the bottom of the 5th. That was a shot. That's the power you want to see from Alvarez. 2-1 Mets. Man, do I believe Alvarez is going to have a big season. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, he turned on that ball. Whew. He knew it as soon as he hit it. Now, vientos up.
I'll tell you, Keith. We talk so much about the ceiling of this Mets team and things that, if they break right, Starling Marte, let's see how the pitching staff does. But for me, the X factor has got to be Francisco Alvarez. The type of year that he put up as a rookie last year.
Sanders, he does that. This offense is going to be a hell of a lot better than people give it credit for.
Find any level of consistency, but he can really, really take off
in his sophomore year.
Well, like you said, it was a rookie season last year, 25 home runs. He challenged Johnny Bench's rookie record for home runs.
You got to figure he just had a
And Bielko strikes out. 2 outs.
Just even the 2 bad months that he had, if he would have just had say, 230, yeah, he had 2 months where he was under 200. He might have sprinkled in 2-3 home runs in those months, and he might have hit 30 home runs. So that's the past. It's a new year. I like the way he's swinging the bat. He's a confident guy, and I think he's going to be just fine.
26 home runs for Johnny Bench in 1969. That was the record for a catcher age 21 or younger. 25 last year for Francisco Alvarez, and that is right where you want to hit it.
He's right on the sweet spot, and boy, did he turn on it, and that is a strong man. Yep, you turn.
There you go. Oh, right to the second baseman, but not before Alvarez hits a 2-run homer to give the Mets the lead in the bottom of the 5th, going to the top of the 6th. And for tonight, guys, that is going to be the stream for tonight, giving you a half a game just to get back into the groove of things of the live stream during the Mets game. So Mets lead 2-1 in going to the top of the 6th. Alvarez with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 5th to give the Mets the lead. So we shall see how this game ends. But once again, guys, I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me for a half a game today. Make sure you hit on that like button before you go. And if you're a new subscriber of the channel, thank you. Keep on coming back for more. Again, there'll be a couple of updates and a couple of announcements with the Amazing Mets pregame show and the Mets Roundtable podcast that we'll be doing for 2024. Make sure to check in about a week or so. We're going to be putting up a schedule for the pregame show, what the times and all that as well. So you get an idea of when the show is going to happen, when the pregame is going to happen. And of course, the Mets Roundtable, and about closer to opening day, we'll have a few updates and give you a schedule for that as well. So with that said, thank you for tuning in for the first live stream of the 2024 season during the Mets game right here on the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Keep on coming back for more, guys. Have a good night. Let's go, Mets. I'll see you next time, guys. Have a good night.